Well, the Kogi state governor on Sunday said that there had been an assassination attempt on its chief executive, that's the Kogi state government actually. Well, Governor Yahaya Bello was a few kilometers away from Abuja on his way to an official engagement from Lokoja, the state capital, when the attack occurred at about 4 p.m. on Sunday, October 22, 2023. Now, Commissioner for Information Kingsley Fanwo provided details. He said, Fanwo stated that the attackers, who were dressed in military uniforms, waylaid the governor's convoy and started shooting sporadically at his vehicle and other vehicles in the convoy. And it took the swift intervention of the security personnel attached to the governor to foil the satanic plans of the unknown soldiers. Now, those were his words. He also said that the attacks were at 3 different points. The last barricade being around Kwali Federal Constituency, I beg your pardon, Kwali Federal Capital Territory at about 4:20 p.m. Attacks, 3 of them, 3 different points. Well, joining us, still with us, I beg your pardon, in this studio to talk about this, we have Akin Fatunke, a communications consultant, an accountant, and public affairs commentator, and also John Akirili, who joins us virtually from Japan. All right, we do hope that John has joined in the conversation. Now, let me come to you now, Akin. This is a serious allegation, a serious event where the governor of a state was said to have, the security agents of the governor were said to have engaged in a gun duel with supposed, assassins dressed in military attire.
Moses, we started this conversation.
Now we have unknown soldiers.
Yes, we started this conversation talking about trust. When you say it's morning, I have to look out of the window to make sure that the sun is around the corner. But when you say good morning to me and what I begin to see around me is a different time frame, you expect me to be able to believe you? 2 things are propped up there. Number 1, attacks between 4 o'clock Nigerian time, West African time, and 4:20. 3 attacks. It's looking to me as not a well coordinated. I find it difficult. So the first attack happened at 4 p.m. and then maybe 10 minutes after another attack happened. Then the third attack happened. I'm sorry, Governor Yahaya Bello, as a humanist, I sympathize with you. Whether this happened or didn't happen, it's a bad thing to scare. I remember your opposite number in Borno State, while on his feet, was actually attacked by Boko Haram, and he nearly lost his life. I do not think these are things that we should continue to look at. Now, haven't schooled in the north. I know coming from Lokoja towards the Kwali constituency.
Sorry, before we go on, please, I would indulge you to hold on to your thoughts. Let's take a listen to the governor's statement after this purported attack.
The press, dear viewers, this afternoon at about 1400 hours, we took off from Lokoja coming to Abuja, and the journey was smooth, along with my convoy. And just about 1600 hours, my convoy, especially the security, had an encounter with another sister agency, and there was a fracas. Immediately, we waded in, and it was resolved. From there, we had a smooth journey down to Abuja. And ever since I came, I've been engaging in all the activities that brought me to Abuja, and it's been very smooth. So thereafter, I began to hear in social media about assassination attempts. I want to state categorically very clear, dear Nigerians, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that there was no assassination attempt on me, Yahaya Bello, the executive governor of Kogi State, by the military or by anybody. Between Kogi State and FCT, it is a secured route. Thanks be to God Almighty and members of the military, the Nigerian police, the DSS, the Navy, the civil defense, the vigilantes, and the professional hunters, and all the citizens of our dear state. We have been able to secure that route, courtesy these various agencies and bodies that I enumerated. So, nobody would have attempted to assassinate me or anybody in my convoy. It is natural, or let me put it this way, most often or sometimes there will be fracas or misunderstanding between sister agencies that are performing their lawful duty. That sometimes cannot be ruled out. That fracas to even have happened in the first place, I've called on the Nigerian police, the Nigerian army, the DSS, and all law enforcement agencies that are around me and on the road to investigate it and ensure that whoever is culpable is punished according to the rules and regulations of the various forces or the various services. I am a law-abiding citizen, and our security men have done greatly in securing our lives and livelihood. I respect men in uniform. I respect our Nigerian army, the Nigerian military, generally, our Nigerian police force, and all security agencies. I respect them very well. All the accolades, all the awards, and all of the successes that we have achieved today in Kogi State is as a result of collaboration between all these agencies and my government and the people. So there's no how we, at these wee hours, that we need each other most to ensure that the renewed hope of our president is sustained and the dividend of democracy is delivered to our people. It is not this time and hour that we're going to have any misunderstanding. So any unruly personnel, whether that of the police or otherwise, I am urging all these law enforcement agencies to investigate it and let all whoever is involved be met with appropriate punitive action. Our Nigerian police, our Nigerian army, and all the law enforcement agencies must be professional. They must respect that ethics that guide.
All right then. So there we have it. Governor Yahaya Bello, incumbent governor of Kogi State. These are his words.
I heard his words, and I must say, for the umpteenth time, that Nigeria is not being governed. Nigeria is not being structured. Nigeria is being ordered. I give kudos to late Professor Jalil, the former VC of Unilag, when he set that vision. I think I've seen shame being prepared here. First of all, thank God, Governor Yahaya Bello, you are alive. Thank God. I just wonder how you, Governor Yahaya Bello, will throw your public affairs, I've worked in public affairs, your spokesperson, Kingsley Banwo, under the bus just like that. Is it conceivable that Kingsley Banwo will have issued a statement without your knowledge? It tells you that that is exactly what is happening, my friend. Nigerian Galali had to backtrack and what have you. Don't we have a process whereby whatever is going to be issued out has been sifted, just rush out and all that? And Governor
Or
Yaya
could it,
Bello,
or could it be
Governor
that
Yaya Bello,
something happened, but then there's trying to be a cover up?
it could be anything.
So now we are confused.
And that is the reason. That is the reason why I say I do not know what to trust. Now, if Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief, 2 days, 3 days after his inauguration, made the service chiefs, and I said, I don't want silos. I don't want situations where in my bedroom, my wife will be fighting with my cousin, as happened during Buhari's time, and there were a lot of shootings between DSS and EFCC and all that kind of stuff. I do not want that to happen anymore. Are we not therefore now seeing situations where that is now being broken so effortlessly? Our heads going to roll so that things like this will not happen? I am afraid. These are the times we have to bring out the long knives and begin to take things a bit much more seriously. Just imagine, Moses, between 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, when Kingsley issued that statement, do you know the scare that will have done to the psyche of the average Nigerian and people wanting to bring in
Fly
things
that
over?
road.
Yeah.
Monumental destruction because of incompetence, I dare say. And then if you have unruly people who cannot speak to one another, for God's sake, a bullet would have killed you, whether it is misunderstanding or not misunderstanding. At that level, it means we have leaders and rulers at state level, local government level, not talk of National Assembly and the presidency, that somebody out of misguided misunderstanding can put his hand or her hand on the trigger and then sink Nigeria. I see a bit of unseriousness here, and I see a bit of lack of trust, the more, in the way we govern. What we say, how we say it, how we plan, how we say things without thinking of the consequences. And when those consequences come, I expected, Moses, for the life of me, and please pardon me, I have to say this, I expected a deep apology from the governor. Forget about whatever. A deep apology that from your stable, a wrong statement has been made and issued, and if you know fully well that you are part of that statement, because I can't see how Fango would have just issued that statement, own up. And don't throw the man or the woman, as the case might be. Kingsley must be a man under the bus. Pure and simple. Responsibility leadership requires that if you have made a mistake, you can't make a mistake, you can't make a wrong call. Call for it, come out, and not only apologize, and make sure that within your stable, such does not repeat again. It's becoming one time too many, unfortunately.
All right, then let's see if John Akirele has joined this conversation. All right, so John hasn't joined the conversation just yet. Now, seeing what is going on in Kogi State, the insecurity going on in Kogi State, and the elections are around the corner, we also know that the candidate of the SDP in the state has been accused of not working with the police in the state. The police have said, look, he's making their job difficult because he doesn't inform them before going on campaign, so they cannot protect him. He's saying he cannot trust the government of the day because insecurity, the violence being perpetrated in the state, according to the candidate of the SDP, is done by the government of the day. How do we marry the two, and you understand what's
we can't marry them because it's a marriage that is not consummated under trust. And then again, your point speaks to the fact that are we getting somebody getting a bit jittery and then throwing a pebble into the pool just to make waves because he or she has something to hide. While I will not, for the life of me, want to be categorical, but to see in my Yoruba land, I know we have it in Indigo and in the Hausa language also, that when the witch keeps on crying in the dead of the night and the baby in the house passes away in the morning, you don't need too much of a proof to know that that witch is responsible, all things be equal, for the baby that passed on. It's wisdom and common sense. I think the truth must be told. I'm not siding anybody. Governor Yahya Bello has been accused of some kind of high-handedness, even in the run-up to the February 25th elections, not wanting some people, Mrs. Akoti, for instance, that regained her seat, not allowing her to go into her constituency. I know the governor has said that no, that's not the issue. Then who do we trust? I think our off-cycle elections, of which this is one, I know Bayelsa is another one, and Imo is perhaps the third one, should be on our radar, on our focus. Anytime you want to have elections in Nigeria will be the time that you begin to see blood flow, blood continues to flow. And I think all stakeholders should get together and they just know that we Nigerians are not, we are not fools. And the blood of any Nigerian, the blood of any Kogad, the blood of any Imolite, the blood of any Bayelsa person is too expensive for the ambition of any politician. And I just pray and I just hope that those of us in the Holoi Poloi, I'm talking of the citizens, we should know that taking sides and making blowing trumpet and going to kill these politicians, they have a way of sharing caviar even on our graves. So we need that mental orientation to just make sure that we guide them if they are not doing right. I mean, it's not an easy task to be calling on the governor and be saying to what I'm saying to the governor. He has to sit tight, he has to sit right. His days are numbered, and then what legacy is he going to be bequeathing? The kind of legacy that will not make you to be comfortable even in retirement, either in Nigeria or outside Nigeria, may not be worth it.
All right then. John is online.
Good morning, John.
Good morning, Moses. Good morning, Joy. Good morning, Moses. Good morning to viewers all over the world. Thank you for having me.
John, good morning.
Go ahead.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well. So my question is, what do you think of everything happening in Kogi? The news about Yahya Bello being attacked, and then he comes out to say something contrary to what was put out there. What do you think? What do you make of all these things happening?
For me, we should look at Kogi as a state, and we should look at what we've been having in Kogi in the past years. So, if you can remember, what is that thing that's been recorded about Kogi as a state? Is it about kidnapping? Is it about violence? Is it about killing? Is it about insecurity? Is it about a bad road? Okay, so these are some of the incessant, what will I call it now, slogan has been shared with Kogi. But what we normally see in our country when it comes to electioneering is that some of the political class, bring up different situations just to castigate the other opponents as to the fact that they are the ones in charge of this. So I want to ask you, how would you say that the number one citizen of a state is allegedly being, attacked? That will tell you that if the number one citizen of a state is having this kind of situation, then Kogi people should not even sleep with their two eyes closed, because that's a big problem on their own hands and their sleeves for them to solve. So if a governor of a state is having been, being trailed by assassins, What is behind that for you? That's the question we should ask ourselves. So who are those behind that planned attack? Is it his opponents? But that will also tell you that our political class have been, doing a lot of frivolous exercise in terms of saying that they are giving evidence to people. The same Yaya Bello has been romancing with the past administration over the years. And what developmental strat can you record about him as a governor? Few days to election, you see him destroying roads that are not even good in Kogi, all in the name of banditry, all in the name of kidnapping. Is that the best way to come about situations in the states? So for me, I think it's just politicking. If Yabilo comes out to say that people after his life, all along that he's been a governor, nobody was after his life. Now that he's about to finish his tenure, he's saying that people are about his life. I think for us, we are more mature to look at those are just things that we don't really take important. What we take important is the development in Kogi State. Let me remind you, there was a time I was going to Abuja and I applied through Kogi by road. And I can say to you, the state of road in that state linking Abuja is worse. If there's any word that is even more degrading than worse, I will use that same word for it because, and I ask myself, is this a state? Do we have a governor here? Do they have internally generated revenue? Do they get federal allocation? Then what do they use this money for? Okay, so if a governor like Abelu, the other speaker was talking about legacy. These people do not even care of any legacy. Don't be shocked. When he finishes his term as a governor, he will also go to the Senate as a retirement plan. Why? Because he's in the ruling party. And what do they have to say to him? Nothing. And that's my problem with the ruling party. If you have a member of your party, either he's a governor, he's a special assistant, or he's a political appointee, and he's not doing things that he ought to do, why don't you come out in public and stand against that? Why don't you call him to order? Why don't you tell him this is what he should do? Look at other states that are performing well. Can't you take a cue from other states? And I think that's just the way to go. For me, I'm really tired about these people, and I hope that the Kogi people will understand now that the person that is telling them is the governor does not really care about the Kogi people. All they care about is their own interests and their own family, how they can, take as much as they can take into their pockets, those that they can send abroad, those that they can wire abroad, those that they can launder. And that's what they care about. You look at the government house in Kogi, you look at the road to Kaba, and you ask yourself, do these things match? You see the governor in his high and mighty vehicle with his entourage showing so much affluence amidst terrible poverty, multi-dimensional poverty in Kogi State. I shake my head for the Kogi people. And I just hope that they will maybe make the right decision at this point in time.
Oh, so I want to ask you this question. What do you think of the statements made by Famo? He said, and I quote, "We are not oblivious of the fact that certain elements are bent on painting Kogi unsafe ahead of the governorship poll slated for November 11th, 2023. As an administration, we will spare nothing to ensure our citizens are not subjected to security threats by desperate politicians sponsoring violence and terrorism." That's the end of his quote. So do you think, is this now a political matter or a security matter? Knowing fully well that, of course, the election is coming close and then there's a lot going on. Do you think this is now a political matter or a situation of security issues?
For me, let me not lie to you, and that is my problem with people when we talk. This is not about the fact that check your headlines the past year, past 6 months, past 3 months. What is that significant thing that has been reported about Kogi? If it's not kidnapping, if it's not bad road, if it's not banditry, if it's not violence, if it's not killing, if it's not abduction. So it's not as if the only problem now is when it comes to electioneering time, all of these things get to raise to power 2. They get increased. So a state that has been, known for kidnapping before now, when it gets electioneering time, the kidnapping is raised to power 2. A state where they don't have good roads before, during electioneering time, you see many more bad roads so that people can use that as a campaign tool to their party faithfuls and loyals. So the point is this: Kogi from time has not been having good reports in terms of security. Kogi has not been a safe haven for even the people living in Kogi. I just give an instance of Kaba. There was a time I was traveling and, because of the gridlock on the road, the traveling had to sleep into late nights. And you need to, oh my good God. And so when people now come and tell you that Kogi has been safe all along, even the governor knows that Kogi has not been safe all along. But a thief will never come out to the public and call himself a thief. And even when you tell him he's a thief, he will not say admit that he's a thief after being caught. So that's what our politicians do. They see white, they tell it is black, even when they know deep down in their mind that it is white. The governor knows, everybody in Kogi knows that Kogi is not safe. All right. He knows that the state of things there are not what it is. But when he comes out to agree to that kind of fact, it means that he's agreeing to his own incompetence, incapacity, and as a failed governor. And he will not want to, accept that he has failed Kogi people in terms of the promises he made to them when he was campaigning to be a governor. And now he has been a governor, served 2 terms. And I don't understand why, he will still be bent on a legacy. They don't have a legacy for anybody. All they care is about themselves. And so Kogi people should understand that it's about them. It's about healthcare, good healthcare. It's about access to quality education. It's about infrastructure. It's about good road
All
for
right,
the Kogi
John.
people.
Let me interrupt you now. Let me just ask this question quickly. Now, with everything going on in Kogi State now, since that's the state we're looking at, with the insecurity going on, this purported attack on the governor, which the governor has said was not, with everything going on, how do you think this will affect the November 11 elections?
Well, for me, that will not really affect the election. So if there's anybody thinking that will affect the election, it will affect the election. The power of incumbency will still play because the power at the center will still have a very strong influence to play in that regard. But I think if INEC will want to, make their names or correct some of their wrongs in 2023 election, either from the presidential and senatorial, this is not a good time for them to do that, for them to uphold the integrity of institutions and say that this is what they want to do. I think now people understand. People now know better. When you promise people before the campaign and after the campaign, people see before and after. People know how much they are buying food before you were a governor. Now that you're a governor, they know how much they are buying food. Before you became president, people know how much they are buying fuel. Now you're a president, they know how much they are buying fuel. So there's a before and after effect. And I know that this before and after effect really play a very strong merger. And that's why you see some of our politicians who always have this sit-tight syndrome. They want to get the power by force. They want their own stool to become the next governor, and they want to do all that they can do in terms of monetary, in terms of show of force, in terms of blockage, in terms of oppression, in terms of violence, just to make sure that they get that seat back. So for me, my own call out to the Kogi people, if you look at your life in the past 8 years, has it been better off? Can you say that the qualified education in Kogi as a state, can you say that your state education, either your tertiary education, your secondary education, your primary education, have had a good rating globally and even nationally? Can you say that your work result has been better for what you have in previous years? Can you say that the cost of living in Kogi is now more affordable than it used to be? Can you say that it is now safe for you to go to farm in Kogi than before? Can you say that you have good health care, access to health care in Kogi than before? Can you say you have more primary health care centers built for you in the past 8 years? If all these answers are no, I think you should know what to do for yourself and say, you want to go another way. Maybe you try somebody else. I don't know the other candidates in Kogi State, but mine is just that anybody that's coming up as a candidate should just know that it's about the people, serve the people well, give them good access to education, good infrastructure, good road, good healthcare system, and let's have a viable state as a whole. Thank you.
All right then.
Thank you so much, John. So, Akin, I want to ask you, what are your concluding thoughts? What's your conclusion?
My conclusion is simple, it's not changed. I do not think we are practicing democracy. I do not, unlike John, November 11 is still going to see a lot of blood flowing. Unfortunately, those whose blood are going to flow, unfortunately, I don't pray for it, because politicians like the Bourbons of France have learned nothing, have forgotten nothing. I see blood flowing in that part of town, and I also think that we cannot continue to do the same thing and expecting different results. I do not believe that the Nigerian state entirely, whether you're going to be looking at Kogi, or you're going to be looking at Imo, whether you're going to be looking at Bayelsa, or any other state for that matter, that you have off-cycle election or you have national elections, that we are going to be conclusive. And if the courts will now be the one that will tell us who has won elections, why continue to spend all this kind of money and be doing a lot of jamboree? We all know that it's a bit of a jamboree. It's a winner, it takes all. But, you know, like they say, you know, faith springs eternal from the hearts of a good people. If in 100, you keep on getting one, keep on getting two, okay, well, we might say that's okay. At least we are moving in a direction because we are getting zero before. And I think we need to now accelerate. Bottom line, the Nigerian state, the Nigerian constitution, the Nigerian elections is not giving us the desired results. We need to have a rethink. We need to take a decision, look at all the states, they are not viable anyway, and then it's just a matter of going to share money. I thought I was going to be hearing some much more concrete things coming from Kogi as being the confluent state, ensuring that it's still that has been in comatose all this while will reawaken in accordance with the Hope agenda, which he himself has said. That's not what I'm hearing. Commissioner is saying something, he's coming out to say some other things, which everybody knows, like John is putting it across there. It's all for politics, all for survival, all for what comes to me, without being able to apply myself tangentially to making sure I can raise the revenue, not pay teachers, not pay, you know, the labor are fixated on the center and talking about palliatives that you also. How are you doing with all those things and not this kind of somebody's attacking me, no, the person not attacking me.
Now,
I mean,
from what we can
it's just
see,
not adding up.
from what we
for
can
me.
see going on, do you think, and INEC has also come out to say that this November 11 elections, they will transmit results to the IREV and people can view. Do you think this will deal with voter apathy?
I don't think it will do with voter apathy. In technology, you talk about garbage in, garbage out. And when you garbage something into technology, it will garbage it out. The base level is how have we picked our candidates? Have we done it according to the party constitution in a way? And then we all go out there. Are we equally represented? And even if we're not equally represented, will technology be able to help us to ensure that, it gives us a kind of hope. I don't have any problems with that. And I sympathize with INEC. Please do all the things that you need to do. Moses and I should do all the things that we need to do. Kogi, you know, people from Kogi should do all the things that they need to do to be much more vigilant. Hopefully, we'll be able to get something. But honestly speaking, I wish all the gladiators well. I know the incumbent is Ododo. I know Adeyemi is also there as possible surprise. I know the youth of Kogi should also be there with their cameras and what have you. Follow your vote. Don't lose your life in the process. And just make sure that infringements that you know will naturally nullify, no matter how strong you are, at the Supreme Court, because eventually it's going to get to Supreme Court again, that you have all your facts and your figures to back you up. Finally, I like to say that take it or leave it. If we win elections, please be magnanimous in the victory. If you lose elections, also be magnanimous to accept defeat and expect that in the next 4 years, rather than take the law into your hands, go through that normal process, we'll be able to get there. One day, the Alakara will get to Mushi. If you get what I'm trying to say, you have to get to Alakara, you have to get to Dioro before you get to Mushi. The Alakara will eventually get to Mushi. Yoruba speaking will understand what I'm saying. I'm saying you take a first step, you crawl, you take a first step, begin to jump, and then you do the pull vault. So I can be a chairman Ajunwa of this world. Right?
All right, thank you very much, Akin Fafatuke. Um, John, now I'll also want your final thoughts on this before we go on to the second topic. Now, as you give your final thoughts, um, let me know what you think about the violence that we have seen in recent times play out in, Kogi, Imo, and Bayelsa, especially Kogi and Imo State, where we are having off-cycle elections. How does this speak to our perception, our acceptance of the democratic elections?
For me, that has shown that our democracy is not growing. That has shown to me that we've not learned from our past mistakes. That has shown to me that we are just a country doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting a different result. And that can never happen. The world says only a fool that does that. So for me, I think what we should do is to learn from our mistakes, say no to violence. If you have been a tool of violence before now, they give you the money. The question you should ask yourself is, all that you have received in time past, what have you been able to do with your life with it? They come to share to you, give you guns, machete for you to go out there. But the question you should ask yourself is, where is the son of the governor? He's somewhere in the UK, somewhere in the US, having a good life, enjoying himself, having good study. So I think what we should do is to not to allow that to affect what we should have, and then say no to violence. Violence does not help anyone, so say no to violence. Don't be a tool for violence. So if somebody should approach you and say, you come and let's go to commit violence somewhere, ask him or her, where is his own son, where is his own daughter, and don't be a tool. And that's
All
my
right
word to
then.
everybody.
All right then. Thank you very much, John Akirele.
Thank you so much, Akin, for also being here. Up next on Voice of the People this morning, ex-APC spokesperson Yakini Nabena has called for the swift arrest of a controversial Kaduna Islamic cleric, Sheikh Gumi. Let's find out why when we return.